MLAs, all the office bearers, and write to the Switzerland government. These are politically exposed persons. Kindly inform us whether they have accounts in your banks or not. Switzerland is obliged to give you under the new law to give you these names. So there are many ways of doing it. So I would like to say to you that there is a solution to the problem. But let me say, laws are not everything. It's a question that we have to ask. With more liberalization, why is there more corruption? And that is because we've become more and more materialistic. I'm talking about the cure, long-term cure. And with that, I'll complete what I have to say. Taken up a lot of your time, but it's required to be explained. This country had its culture and a moral law called Sanatana Dharma, where money was not everything. This first entered my head, this thought, when I came into Harvard as a student to get my PhD. And my American classmate asked me, how can you have Mahatma Gandhi as your leader? So I said, why? In America he cannot be a leader. In America, if he came and said, you want to be leader, we'll put him in jail for indecent exposure. Because he has only one piece of cloth. So then the thought occurred to me, yeah. I asked him, then in your country, leaders are all well dressed. He said, yes, they must be nice tie, nice coat, everything must be natty. Then only he can qualify as a leader. Not like this, looking like the riffraff, So the thought occurred to me, and then I said, my God, there is something behind it. So I went and read the debate, the discussion between Rishi Bhrigu and Rishi Bhardwaj. In that, you see, Rishi Bhardwaj says, what is the best way to have a stable society? And Bhrigu says that there are 4 sources of power, and if you decentralize them, that is, more than one is not in the hands of any one person, then you will have a stable society. And those 4 are knowledge, weapons, wealth, and land. You separate this out, then you will have a stable society. And so therefore those who have knowledge cannot have weapons, cannot have wealth, cannot have land. And they will be called Brahmins. Those who will wield the weapon, they will be called Kshatriyas, they will be kings. But they cannot make policy. Policy, they will have to go to the Brahmin. And like that. He also made it clear that this has got nothing to do with birth. You can be born of parents of one varna and become of another. For instance, Vedavyasa, his mother was a fisherwoman, and he became a Maharishi and wrote the Mahabharata. Then Kalidasa was a hunter. He became the Maharishi and the poets of poets. Vishwamitra's parents were Kshatriyas. He became Rishi of Rishis. Valmiki was considered as a Dalit. No, as a Dalit. At least Dalits claim him. Some people say he was a hunter. But anyway, he was not from, his parents were not Brahmins. And he wrote the Ramayana. Ravan was a Brahmin. And this Karunanidhi did not know. Because they used to worship Ravan. They used to hold Ravan Leela. Dravida Kadagam people used to have names called Ravanan. And all because of their hatred of Brahmins. And it turned out that Ravan was a Brahmin. I once went to Mansarovar, on the way there is a big lake, much bigger than Mansarovar. And the Tibetans call it Ravan Haranga. So I said, what does this Ravan Haranga mean? They said, Haranga means lake, but Ravana we don't know, but somebody came from India. But don't touch that water, because they said you will die of some terrible disease. So I took a bottle and filled it. And when I returned, I gave it to Karunanidhi. You are a great admirer. Great admirer of Ravana. So this is this was the structure. Somewhere it got connected with birth. And that's why this whole system has collapsed. It's not good for us. And now I can't reform, we can't reform it. So let's think of slowly, breaking it off. We are, according to DNA, one people. There is no Aryan, Dravidian, all nonsense. Dravida is a geographical term invented by Adi Shankara when he met Mandana Mishra. So, therefore, social status went to the Brahmins because they were men of learning, not because they were born of Brahmin parents. If you are a Brahmin, broke the law as Ravana did, and killed by a Kshatriya, the Brahmins do not say, oh, Rama killed one of our own, therefore we are against Rama. We all worship Rama. Rama, of course, respected the institution, so therefore he did the Brahma Hatya Dosha Pariharam, you see, in Rameshwaram. So, the money can be made, money should be made, but it cannot give you social status. This globalization has made money everything. I went to IIM to address the students there, and asked them, why did you come here? Why didn't you go to IIT or something else? They said, no, this is the prospects of getting a high salary is maximum here. I said, you have no love for business administration, you have no love for accounting, you have no love for finance theory, and you're only because this salary. They said, yes. Yes, it's true. 20 years ago, people all were running to engineering because that's the best prospects in those days. Now it is this. Before that it was IAS, where the best prospects were there. So this is the root. Corruption comes out of greed, and greed comes out of materialism. And unless you rebuild your society on the basis of a harmonization between material pursuit and spiritual values, where you promise not to do anything unethical, to make money, that money at all costs, no, you don't agree. In the long run, you cannot solve this problem of corruption. Short run, we can change the laws, you can make it very strict, all that. But for the long run, the cure for a society like ours is the return to the old Sanatana Dharma principles. And this applies, these principles apply equally to Muslims and Christians. After all, their ancestors were all Hindus. They didn't come from somewhere else. I mean, the number of people who came from abroad was microscopic. But they are all, and our DNA proves that. I don't need any color of the skin has got to do with pigmentation, it's got nothing to do with the race. Michael Jackson proved it by taking out all his pigmentation, he became like a white man, you see. So, the Indians are all, and I'm telling you that you don't go to any extent. I remember when Raj Thackeray used to say that all the Bombay taxi walas should go away because this is Marathi country and these walas are all UP walas. So I got a hair sample of Raj Thackeray and I got one taxi driver to donate one hair sample and tested it, and both were the same. So I made a public announcement that Raj Thackeray actually originally came from UP because the hair sample shows that the DNA is the same. And I told him, if you challenge it, come here on a public platform and give me a hair sample in your presence. I will have the experts with their laboratory, mobile laboratory here, and they will prove it to you that your DNA is the same. All Indians' DNA is the same. So therefore, these differences must go. And consequently, we must now start thinking in these terms of how pursuit of money cannot be an end in itself. Pursuit of money is good, but it's not an end in itself. Then it's only a long-run possibility. And that awareness is coming to our country. I see that. Therefore, I see long-run hope. India is now poised to become a great... We have got everything else going. We have enough resources. We have a young population, which is called a demographic dividend. All that. But we should not get bogged down by a takeover by foreigners. It need not be in the old British India Company way, the East India Company way. It can be now a more subtle way, like the way that lions in a circus have been made slaves, or you instill into goats fear. At seeing a tiger, they all disperse. This kind of mindset which affects, that will happen, and that is why corruption is a problem that can be solved, provided we have this long-term perspective. In the short run, there's no question now, there's so much euphoria in the country that corruption may, ultimately some people may get punished, and there's so much upheaval that there will be movements in the near future. And I think many forces are coming together. Ramdev, Hazare, RSS, Vishwa Parishad, these are all organizations they are all very large organizations. Jayaprakash Narayan did not hesitate to take RSS help and help of Vishwa Parishad, because he wanted to fight that. Like Winston Churchill took the help of Joseph Stalin. So it can't, now it should be a single point issue. We must get rid of corruption from I think for which we need a new government, because a new government can do this problem very quickly. We can do it through courts, but it's a longer process. But if you have a government which is supportive, then we can do it very quickly. That's what I want to say. Thank you.